Um, so overall, I would say that following my code of ethics has been relatively easy. This is just because they're rules that I have inherently followed my entire life. Um, a lot of it is principles that have been like instilled in me as like at a very young age. I grew up in a pretty religious like Christian household, and a lot of I think ethics and morality is like tied into some biblical principles, like not stealing, not lying, all of that kind of stuff. Um, and honestly, since I've grown up following all of these, my own personal code of ethics from a young age, whenever I break them, like if I lie or I don't steal, but if I were to steal or anything like that, um, it would cause like a lot of chaos and like turmoil in my life just because it's so unsettling for me because that me at my core, that's not who I am. Um, for a lot of like the big like principles and certain sub principles and stuff, um, I think it's relatively easy to say that you're going to follow um, the code every day, um, or say like it's easy to like stay true to yourself or your morals, your values, like no matter the situation, no matter who you're around. Um, but I think we all know that a lot of the times we are thrown into situations maybe out of our control or just that we aren't prepared to face at that time. And it really is hard to, make the right choice in the heat of the moment. And I think we all struggle with it at certain points. I think a lot of times if we ask ourselves, like, how we're doing and like how we're showing up before we engage with others, it could change the dynamic of a conversation drastically. Um, I think it's a major key in communication is to be self-aware, um, aware of like your emotional state, your mood, and your intentions going into the conversation. Because I don't think it's fair to go into a conversation with somebody and expecting something out of them if you don't even know what to expect out of it from yourself. I would say one of the areas that I've been doing well in would be kind of like sticking up for myself. I'm a people pleaser. I really struggle with not letting people just walk all over me just because I don't like conflict. Um, when we took the conflict style assessment, I found out that I'm pretty majorly avoidant, which I knew. I knew I didn't like conflict, but I didn't realize that it was my sole way of handling conflict. Um, so I think what I've been doing well lately is not letting my peace and space and my time be stolen from me anymore. Um, a lot of times I would put up with certain behaviors in the past just for the sake of not wanting to have like any kind of confrontation or conflict, or to like rock the boat in any way. But lately I've been finding ways to still make people happy and find common ground. But I think most importantly, sticking up for myself finally. Um, uh, what else here? I think that I think it's important for each person to understand why they have their own certain code of ethics. I think we all experience life differently. So like mine comes from like a biblical standpoint of like how I learned right and wrong growing up, like when I was really little. Um, but I think we all go through different things that shape and mold us into who we are, and that's how we learn how to handle these situations and interact with people. And I think one of the things I'm still struggling with, though, I'm a manager at like a pizza place, and I have customers come in all the time, and I think a lot of them are kind of like entitled in a certain way. Um, and there's, I think, speaking of people like that, I think it's important to understand that some people just like arguing just to argue. Like, you can't, there's some people that won't change their mind. They can't see, like, they can't put themselves in your shoes to see where you're coming from. And that makes it really hard to find a common ground if you're dealing with somebody that doesn't want to find a common ground. Like, they're always right, never wrong, can't do any wrong. Like, that's, I think, one of the things I'm still struggling with is how do you find common ground with somebody that doesn't want the common ground? And I think every day I'm just going to have to find ways to handle conflict in my own way that feels good to me and is fair to other people. And it's something that I'm going to have to keep practicing and getting more comfortable, and I know it'll come more natural to me in the future. But that's my biggest insecurity right now, is just working on having the tough and open and honest conversations that I have to learn how to grow and be a better ethical leader.